let's get on into this meeting. So this is our weekly all-team tactical. We're going to be using it to sync up on work going on around BCard, prioritize work, and eliminate blockers. And just FYI, this call is our public community call, and it is recorded, and clips of the participants are sometimes shared on social media, especially if you say something insightful. So if you want to be sharing something, feel free to be insightful, no pressure. But if you don't want to be shared, please just tell me or say it in the meeting, and we'll make sure that you are not shared. In case you don't know what we do at BCard, we help purpose-driven communities use Web3 tooling to generate revenue and engagement. And there is a little article over there. If you want to know more, I'll go ahead and take a quick attendance. Roast and Thinker, Shelby, Stuffins, and Winverse. All right, great. On the like metric side, we had 5,000 in transaction volume. This is down 12,000 from last week. These are still, they still seem somewhat suspicious, these values, so it may be like the tail end of people going in. That being said, all of the people, like I spoke to, and I will mention this a little bit further down, but I spoke to Transcard about all the suspicious transactions, and it's not on us at all. So we have no obligation if these we have no obligation or liability if these people do turn out to be scammers, because we have like our full like we're passing the serial numbers and stuff. Sorry, not the serial numbers, the social security numbers and stuff. So we're doing everything right, and so we have no liability on this. We'll see. Transcard is still doing a little bit of a investigation into this, so we'll see how it works. But for at least from our perspective, we know we don't have any liability. On the lead metric side, we have 6 weekly transacting users, 3 new users, and 10 communities deployed. Not so bad right now. Aiming to get both these numbers, 6 and 10 and 3, up to 10 a week. And so that's what we're aiming to do right now. Team-wide announcements: December 25th and January 1st, all hand meetings will be canceled. I'm going to be enjoying time with my family, and I hope that you do too. So the next 2 Wednesdays, there won't be meets. I'll probably be around. I have some updates to Taxman that I want to get in before the new year. Actually, I'm using it to do my taxes, and I need it to be better than it is right now because I was a little bit more involved with the crypto space. But no all hands meetings, and I think it's maybe a good time to take some time for reflection. So feel free to do that if that's something you like to do. Also, January 8th will be a retrospective. So if you have some time, a couple minutes here or there, think about things that we did well at BCard and things that we could improve, pluses and deltas. And we'll talk about it on January 8th. All right, going down, we don't see any new members. From a milestone perspective, in-app voting, there's a new release out for the voting tab that Tom released out onto staging. Take a look. Tom, I started to take a look at it yesterday, but I will finish taking a look at it today. Knock on wood. Anything else you want to say for in-app voting?
No, just that it's roughed in and some eyes on it and some feedback would be appreciated so that we can pull it towards shippable.
Awesome. Yeah, so please do take a look. Shouldn't take long. The only thing is that you need bank on Optimism to actually be able to vote. So just FYI, if you don't know how to do that, just reach out to me or Tom. Honestly, we could probably just drop you some bank from our Optimism multisig.
Now, does that need to be in the embedded wallet?
I believe so. Is that right, Tom?
At this point, it's either connected wallet or embedded wallet. So we're still.
So it could be either one, or because I do have bank on Optimism in my connected wallet, but not in the embedded wallet.
Yep, they should definitely both be displaying right now. There might be an issue with registering the votes, but I would love for you to take a look and let me know how it displays for you and if it's showing what you expect or not.
Okay, I'll take a look. Thanks.
Cool.
We bank on Optimism, connected or embedded wallet. All right. Taxman. So I kind of got derailed. I was supposed to be doing more work on our growth dashboard and our community pages. I guess I got a little bit, let's call it nerd sniped on Taxman, because I am also preparing my taxes. And what I was doing last year was just not going to be sufficient. and I wanted to upgrade Taxman to actually be allowed to actually work for my use case. The hope being that if it works for my use case, it'll work for a bunch of other people's use cases. Just as a refresher on Taxman, the intent for it is not to be a fully functional crypto tax calculator, which includes all things like NFTs and capital gains, and it's really just supposed to take into account income. And we call it a DAO income tax helper, but there are lots of different types of income which are kind of treated similarly in most countries, including things like staking income, including things like DAO income. So we'll see, but ultimately, I'm not even halfway done the work that I want to do for it, which would include things like allowing for any token and not just DAO tokens. We actually do have the ability to do that now, because we're paying for CoinGecko, and so yeah, we'll see if I'm able to get it, if my reach exceeds my grasp. But I'm doing it in really small increments, so hopefully whatever we do, hopefully it'll still be useful. On the community pages side, there's been no progress on this, but the intent is to turn Blackfly Collective into a proof of concept for small community websites. Includes things like official links, caliber of events, and ways to contribute. I had started making a pool together endowment fund kind of direct on the website donation, but I kind of, as I said, got distracted with Taxman. So let's see how far I get. Potentially, it's going to be something that we work on in the new year. And user analytics, honestly, I should just get this done. It's probably like 2 hours of work, but I just haven't done it yet. Anything else that you want to call out here, Tom?
No, nothing in specific beyond that, I think.
All right. All right. So on the growth dashboard side, I made no progress on this, although it is something that I should be working on. In general, I'm going to be making more landing pages and testing some of the messaging that we've been talking about. I realized semi-recently that I've been trying, like the reason I've been having difficulty writing messaging for BCard and BCard Foundation is that the Foundation has multiple products. Taxman, the Vault, eventually these community pages, and of course our signature BCard product. Whereas BCard, the product, has like a more tight messaging. And so it's actually like two separate concepts, I guess you could think about. And some of our messaging works better for that kind of foundation more than the website itself. And so I've been thinking about making landing cards for the foundation. Landing pages for the foundation. We'll see, right? This is something I probably won't get a chance to work on this year, but hopefully we'll start to have like a little bit more separation between like the foundation and the product, because that's probably going to help our messaging as well. On the suspicious transaction side, we have no liability, so that's good to know. 10 high-quality communities. We do need to update Black Flag DAO because they're no longer bankless DAO. Seems like a task for 2025 us. C3, OMF, and our funnel, they're the same as last week. Unless, Josh, you have any updates on the funnel?
Yeah, a couple of quick thoughts on it. So I started with Community Foundation, and then I went and I just started looking at, look at my list here. It's another community type of thing. But anyway, let me bring this up so I can remember what I'm thinking about here. So community service was another area. And so I was looking at community service, and there are organizations that do things like help homeless or the unhoused, people with food insecurity, things like that. And it prompted an idea in that, a big part of what those organizations do is try and get immediate services and relief to people in dire need of food or shelter, whatever. And it occurred to me that, and I know this is the way it's used in terms of like delivering for example, EBT benefits, EBT is a food program where instead of having what used to be called food stamps, they actually have what's essentially a debit card that the government provides that is your supplemental. There's another term for it, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, where they either provide subsidy for food and housing, or they preload a debit card, and which is what I'm getting at here. Preloaded debit card for members that are for people in the community that qualify for the program or need a support, whatever. And so what I was thinking is, I'm wondering if maybe a product or an offering would be a kind of a twist on how a BCard is offered. Maybe a community organization that delivers benefits to a specific set of individuals, where they manage that, they have a specific budget, they deliver benefits in terms of actual cash assistance, maybe, or for specific uses. Maybe what they could do is provide their own card, a branded card, so it shows, yes, this is the organization that is supporting these folks, and actually deliver benefits that way, and use the debit card as a way to deliver benefits to the recipients of the program. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. In fact, I think like TransCard is more built for that kind of thing, like the TransCard system. Unfortunately, our existing app is not really built for that specifically.
Right, I understand. I'm just thinking other directions, or like just like a category of use cases. If we're looking at expanding the product in the future, I'm not saying it's something we could do right now, but it's an area of inquiry that occurred to me as I was going through and looking at some of these organizations.
Yeah, those organizations in particular, like these community groups, there's a ton of them in my area too. I feel like in probably most major cities, there's a bunch of those groups that are kind of popping up in response to a lot of homelessness. I don't know, it feels like there's homelessness or let's say unhoused people have really increased in the last couple of years. And so there's a bunch of let's say community groups in my area too, who are doing exactly what you say as well, Dros. Like they're distributing foods, they're distributing blankets. I often see them as I'm walking down the street. And so these are exactly the groups that we want to enable. These are exactly the kind of groups that we want to help with engagement and revenue. So I definitely think that it's a good, let's say it's a good thread to pull. I wonder what the best way for us is to help them.
Yeah, because a corollary to that is just that as we become increasingly a tech-centered society, and if you don't have a smartphone, if you don't have, we just assume everyone has that. But if you're unhoused, if you don't have the ability to scan QR codes, if you don't have the ability to sign up for programs via your smartphone, you're fucked. You really are.
Yes.
And so how do we help those people? How can they participate in society at some level? I'm just trying to think through that. What could it be? Some sort of a not necessarily a safety net, but an aspect of this a web of services or capability that helps support community, I guess. I just feel like we're going to need more and more of that in the future, as if we go with the consensus opinion. I shouldn't say consensus opinion. What seems to be the consensus opinion that institutions are crumbling and failing and broken around the world, not just in the US.
Hey,
and
Dros,
so we're going to have to figure out. Go ahead.
I totally agree with you, and I think that issuing charity funds via a preloaded card, or even a preloaded smart contract that's connected to a card, I think that would be a huge service I see a lot of charities and government funding moving on chain in the very near future, because people want accountability. I think it's just kind of the next move. There's a lot of pushback on national and international levels, and even local levels at some in some ways. But we will be moving towards a blockchain future. And if charities could funnel directly from a foundation to smart contracts that were set up with KYC, and they knew who they were giving the money out to, I feel like the public would be more trusting of where those funds were actually being spent, less chance to be sort of funneled off to black ops, etc. Whatever you want to call it. People always seem to be able to channel funds into a new Rolls Royce or something. But yeah, I think this would increase accountability for charities, and also really be able, like you said, Drost, be able to serve the people who are in need of having a card, a physical device, or even just a simple app that they can get out on their phone and there's money available. There's a huge market for that, especially as we move towards, the idea of UBI, right? With UBI, it's kind of a no-brainer having an app like that, a preloaded account that is spendable through a charity. And if it's on the blockchain and it's not your keys, not your crypto, that's even better. So yeah, great idea, Drost.
Thanks. And the accountability piece to me is really important because people like even I was just talking to a family member a couple of weeks over Thanksgiving and stuff, and just privately we're talking about, it's an older relative, and just saying, hey, I'm trying to decide what to do with my giving after my demise, frankly, and they're trying to figure out how to assess these charities, because just like you said, Anna Thinker, there's questionable practices out there, and how do you know it's going to the people that it's intended for? And blockchain answers that. So anyway, I think it's an opportunity area. So I just wanted to touch on that. So thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what you're talking about, and like ultimately, I think like exactly what you said, like a web of services, to kind of allow more accessibility for people. That's exactly what we're aiming to do in the long run. And the thing that you're talking about right now, Drost, when I describe it to like startups or people building products, I describe it as the problem space, like investigating the problem space, because that problem space, often it's way bigger than what we can tackle, let's say in a reasonable amount of time, what our capacity is right now. And so we have to kind of take that problem space and project our capability onto it and say, like, what can we do? I mean, in the long run, the hope is that we can solve this large problem space. And in the short run, what is the path towards that kind of long run goal? What is something that we have strength in? What is something that we have capability in, that could solve a piece of that problem space? And so like when you're connecting those two things, and this is what I call the solution space. So you have your problem space, and you have your solution space. There's hopefully some intersection between the two. And when you understand that intersection, it starts to become really, all of a sudden, like it starts to become, first of all, it's easy to understand. It's easy to kind of relate it to people, usually. And it makes your next actions a lot more clear. And so I think like keep pulling that thread, Drost, and we can talk about it as we go further. But ultimately, like it is the kind of groups that we're trying to help, and I think that there's probably something that we can do to help them. I don't know what it is yet, but I do think that there's something there.
Yeah, something to chew on.
Exactly. All right. Cool. Thanks for that, Drost. I appreciate that. Now let's pop into Asana for our task perspective. All right. So user needs research. CryptoDad, he did post an update on this survey work plan. I'm going to go ahead and put this into needs feedback and assign it to myself. And this week, the growth dashboard, terrible that I said this is the most important thing and I didn't put work into it this week, but yeah, in general, it's what I said before. I'm going to start using MailJet to create some kind of mid-funnel landing pages, and we can kind of start to test our messaging that way. I think as well, we'll probably pay for some ads just so we can quickly iterate on the messaging and see if it works. Now, where we I think in this space, a lot of people they are like super bullish on specifically social media as your distribution channel. I understand why people would say that, and I think that there are potentially other distribution channels for us. Our main goal for our distribution channels was supposed to be to use our communities as a distribution channel. That will be our long-term goal, but to make that work in the short term, we're going to need some more short-term distribution. And so going to check on this, and I haven't done it yet. We'll move on from there. In-app voting we talked about already. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this, Tom?
Nope, nothing in specific that I can think of right now beyond what we discussed. Yeah, I think it's just got to get a little bit tighter.
Cool. Get people to donate on Flow State. So I did get a couple more. Now we're up to 13, which is really nice. I could get a couple more people maybe, and then I need to send an email to our email list, and then I'm going to close this off. If I recall correctly, we're making, I mean, and so this keeps changing, right? But we're like the efforts that we made, now we're up to, yeah, almost 0.94 ETH a month. And so the interesting thing is that, okay, we have 13 donors and we have 1.2 in direct. And if you look to similar other ones, 13 donors and 1.5, they're getting a lot more in matching, and they're getting their matching multiplier. That they have more spread. So here, again, over here, see, so they have 13 donors and they have less indirect funding, and yet their matching is more. So I'm not sure how that works, but it's probably because of the spread between the donors. I'm not sure how much each donor is giving, but I've been telling people like $1 a month. Maybe these Farcastle people have been telling people differently. Anyways, messing around with this stuff is not really worth too much of our time, I don't think. But it's been helpful so far. So we'll see. Hopefully into January we can start getting this matching funding. So the total flow that went out, matching ETH, and the monthly flow is 8. So we'll see. I'm not really sure how it works, but we can kind of see. And going back into our weekly all hands, into our all team projects, competitive analysis. I still need to finish this up. It really is just taking something and putting it onto our website now. Update cash flow. How's this going, Arkisti? I feel like there was supposed to be like a 1-minute update for this.
Well, there's not really that much to update on. I've kind of been overwhelmed on some other fronts. So,
okay. Is this something that we should close off then?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think like one big thing to say is our runway is still greater than 2 years, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's important to note. And that's only because we aren't paying ourselves. So that's something else to note. And so let's close this off for now, but let's put this, it's in the accounting inbox. So we'll need to agree on how much time did you spend on this, Arkisti?
Maybe like an hour.
Really? That's it? I feel like you've spent more than that. For October and November cash flows? And like downloading the transactions and like looking through it and updating the spreadsheet?
Yeah, well, I mean, I really don't know what I spent on it. But...
Okay, let's put 5 hours here. Make sense?
Okay.
All right. And we'll move this from all team and ops weekly and leave it in accounting. All right. User interviews. So Zooty Bear actually did, actually, you know what? I should put her Figma in here. But Zooty Bear actually did do a little output from this on, I wonder if I can show it to you guys here. On the Monday's product meet. And so she did some insights, and we looked into some of her insights and some actionable recommendations. This still needs to be, I would say, a little bit more. I need to consume it a little bit more deeply because we had like an hour on Monday. I want to like look at it a little bit tighter. And then what we're gonna do is to look at like we'll do a strategy exercise, could, should, must, in terms of like what we have to do for the product to fix some of these things. The nice thing about it is that so Zudi was off for several weeks because she had just a couple family things and then she was on vacation. And a lot of the outputs that she had, we've actually already taken action on some of them independently. And so that's a good thing, right? Like it could help us. But all this to say that it's nice to see that her eyes from a kind of independent perspective, we're seeing some of the same things that we were seeing. And so, and some of the things that we took into account as well. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put in here. That's done. Useful links, Sigma output from the. Okay, I need to look at this, and so I'll put this into the to review and put myself on it. All right. Make a list of targets based on crypto donations. So, Drost, you talked to us about this, but did you want to give any other updates on this?
No, I think we had a fairly good discussion on it. I know the going a little slow, but as you said, we're not going to be able to contact hundreds of organizations immediately. So what I'm trying to do is go in there and look at what the organizations say about themselves, kind of think through a little bit if it just gut feel as to whether it's an organization that might seem like it would be appropriate to contact. And I don't really have any defined criteria on that. I am starting with it because the categories of let me see if I've got I had grabbed the category list, but there's all kinds of things from animal charities, human rights, refugee stuff, water programs, all that kind of. There's so many different areas and international and so on. So what I've been trying to do is narrow it down to U.S. Since it is a U.S.-based card, and then things that are really community focused, since that's our messaging. And so that's kind of the take I've been going at, and just trying to start building a list on it. So there's about 13 or 14 in there so far, and I'm just starting to collect it. That's really where we're at on it.
So, all right, thanks a lot, Jost. For Radius's list, I'm going to go ahead and move it into next up because I haven't heard from him in a while. Same with Hero's article. I'll move it into next up, and we'll see if they emerge in the new year. Contributor rewards and payroll. Arcusty and I have a meeting later today to kind of try to get this out the door, and so we shall see. And then the Black Flag. And sorry, any other updates on that, Arcusty?
No. Well, I'll just send double confirm the time with you on DM.
Sure, I think it's in
1 o'clock
Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 Eastern.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that works for me. Did I not send you an invite? Sorry, I'll send you one right now. Oh, I don't have your email in there. Okay, I will add it to you later. But yes, 1 p.m. for sure. All right, cool. And the Black Dag and Dama Fund, no progress on this. I think the calendar functionality is really it should be the highest priority, and getting something out for tabletop. But also we have Black Flag events running now. So it would be good for us to have kind of a shared calendar, figure out that functionality, so that people can just add stuff to the list if they have access, and then we can kind of move on from there. All right. Anyone else wants to, anything else that people are working on that's not on this list? All right. Let's get into what we shipped last week. So Tom released a new proof of concept for the in-app voting. It's on staging, so check it out if you haven't already. I presented BCard for Dowcember yesterday. There are 3 prizes, the top of which is like 2000 OP, and then I think like 1500 OP, and then 1000 OP. So we'll see. There's quite a few teams. There's 10 teams, and so we'll see if we did okay. I got a few more people to donate on Flow State. I did a bunch of work on Taxman, including I updated the design. I started caching responses to reduce our alchemy spend and our DeFi llama. I didn't do this for CoinGecko yet, Tom, but that would make sense for me to do it. And then I added income and not income switcher to the list so that you can go through the list a little bit faster. And I added some updates. I already said that I updated the design. So yes, that is on, and that's actually live on taxman.getbcard.io. So basically a bunch more work to come so I can actually do my taxes with it. So I'm a little bit deeper into the crypto use case, and we'll see how it goes. Hey, Anna Thinker.
Hey, quick question about CoinGecko. Do we know if we can get an Oracle through Chainlink or API 3 or anything like that now? I know people have been integrating new features, but I don't know if that's an option yet. I did ask around a bit when we were first implementing that.
What do we need an Oracle for?
For price lookups.
Oh, so yeah, we're just using CoinGecko right now. It's costing us $129 a month, and we're also using it on the BCard side, like the CoinGecko.
Right, but is there a cheaper option? Is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, there might be. I even think like Alchemy has a price lookup, but Alchemy tends to be the most expensive option. So I don't actually know. Let's just say I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If
I see anything, I will let you know.
Yeah, please let us know if you find something. Yeah, it's probably our most expensive software as a service is that historical pricing.
Yeah, the biggest feature that we had decided that we needed to pay for Taxman to enable it working was getting prices at historical time ticks. Most other services charge pretty significantly for that type of data access. And back when we were doing it, obviously 2 years ago, there was limited selection available for people who were doing that sort of historical data. But I think there might be a few other options available. I think Zapper.xyz is another company that has announced that they're doing now pricing APIs. So there certainly we could do another dive into options.
Yeah, and I mean, in the past, we were also doing it based upon we actually had fixed the which tokens you could actually look up because we only had limited price information because we were trying to do it free. And so I'm actually going to try. I don't know if this is going to be possible, but I'm going to try to open it up to almost any token. I mean, the thing is, Etherscan actually gives you US prices on everything. And so I wonder if we could even just do something. Anyways, all this to say that we made a bunch of design decisions because we weren't able to get access to this data, and if this data is more readily available to us now, we could make Taxman better. All right. So I talked to Transcard about suspicious transactions, and I also ensured that we have no physical cards being sent at card creation. We just had very bad, let's call it, success rates of people actually getting our card. It just feels like it's not happening. Transcard does have a way for users to order physical cards, which are express, and so they're guaranteed to reach you because they require a signature. And so what we're going to probably do is allow users to order these themselves. And so they can still get a physical card, but we won't send it in regular mail anymore because it's just not working. All right. And so anything else that anyone shipped that we want to put on this list? Okay. Well,
I don't know if I should mention the output from the meetings. I was a little slow at putting stuff together on these last couple of weeks, partly because I'm spending more time on it than I probably should. There's a lot of good content in there from the meetings. and just trying to surface that in a meaningful way. I'm spending more time on it than I had originally meant to, because it's kind of interesting, and I tend to be a perfectionist, so I need to not do that. But what I wanted to do is ask you guys. I have been putting, as I get things done, put them on the meeting notes pages. So if you look at December 11th and then December 4th, if you look at the very top, summary transcripts, excerpts. And so I've got toggle headings there. So that one, for example, I have an audiogram there. If you hover over that on passkeys, there you go. It'll do a little preview. And it's probably not playing the audio for you.
It did, yeah.
Okay. And then that one, if you expand that one actually has a transcript off on the right-hand side. It's hard to get it to display if you drag it. Anyway, yeah, there you go. If you go to the site, it actually shows it. So that's where it's a follow-along transcript. And what these are some excerpts that are pulled from different sections of the hour-long meeting. So these excerpts end up being maybe about 7 to 10 minutes. And this is just the quick and dirty. What I did is I did let the AI tool select a few, and then I would go through manually and look at what it had selected and look at context around it, and then add some more highlights and then extract those for this. And so it takes me a little more time than I had than originally intended to spend on it. But the idea here was for anyone that wanted to go through, not necessarily listen to the whole meeting, but you look at the highlights and go, oh, this was interesting. Where can I find that in the original meeting? Go to the timestamp, see if you want to listen to it. Or if you see something here that could be expanded and maybe turned into an audiogram by itself, that would be a way to like maybe give me feedback or say, hey, this section really resonated with me, like you had said, Links, a couple weeks ago. Because otherwise I'm having to make, and I don't mind making editorial decisions on what seems to resonate and what doesn't. And we do kind of repeat ourselves, but in different ways. And I'm not saying repeating is bad. We know that repeating a message is very important, and saying the same thing maybe in different ways can be really effective too. But I guess maybe just getting more feedback on that kind of thing. And if this is a good place to put it, or if I should be surfacing maybe in the team chat as a thread as to excerpts. I don't know what you guys feel is
I
most
think you should put
useful
it in the
there.
team chat as a thread.
Okay.
So here's what we did like last time is like, hey, when I'm like, hey, this would make a good audiogram, I kind of just put a comment on it, right? And so I just did it up
Okay.
here so people could see. You have to sign in with your Google account to do that, but it's super helpful, right? Because then it gives Drost like, hey, this is only like a 2-second clip, right? Like it's literally just Tom saying he likes logs, right? But for the piece of serenity, lighting a fire with a real log is a good way to go.
And I
but
usually edit out stuff like that because it's just
yeah,
chatter, but it can be,
so like, chatter
sometimes it's
could be okay too, right? Like it could attract people. It could attract a different kind of person, right? Who's looking for community. And so I think like we're at the stage where we don't know what's going to work, so we may as well, if something resonates with you, even if it's just chatter, go ahead and stick a comment on it like this, and then that's going to help Drost, because then Drost is like, okay, I know what to make an audiogram now. This resonated with more than just me, right? This is now 2 people who it resonates with. Let's see if it works for more people. And so I think that you should put it every week in the team chat or the user chat, even Drost.
Okay.
And just just do like an @team.
Okay.
Yeah, and then people
Got it.
can go through and check it out. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just didn't want to be too chatty, so it's good feedback. Thanks.
I know how tedious it can be as well, Roast. You're going back and listening to an hour of dialogue, and AI kind of clips out stuff which isn't really always relevant to each other. It kind of picks out words, it looks for patterns, and it totally misses the context. So having to go
Yep,
through
I
and sort
found
of
that.
correct AI's, yeah, you have to kind of correct AI's foibles. And yeah, good job of that, man. So yeah, makes sense.
And it
Leave
also
comment.
took an hour-long meeting and took it down to 7 minutes of highlights too, which I think is like, okay, that's better than going through an hour, right?
Yeah, that's true. And then there's
Absolutely.
been some really good conversations that end up God, you could put them together and turn it into a pod. I mean, like that. There was a good piece like on the pass keys that I ended up turning it into. It's got about a minute and a half audiogram right now, but there's a 30-second piece that's really nice. I was like, well, should I separate out the 30-second piece that sounds really nice, or add the additional context because it's really good? And it's it's that kind of editorial decision making, and it's like, what are people going to actually pay attention to, listen to for more than 3 seconds? What's going to resonate? I have no idea, and I know we talked about it before. We won't know till we try it.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, getting some feedback on it.
Artistic license for that kind of thing, and we could throw some feedback in, but using your artistic license isn't a bad thing either. Also, the length of time someone might listen to a thing on passkeys, especially if they don't know what they are, versus what they might listen to for our philosophy, depends on who it is, but they might be two different people, right? And they might come to us for different reasons, but we can, even if they're coming to us for different reasons, if we're purpose aligned, we can still help each other, right? So, yeah, I do think that this is. I haven't posted clips for the last 2 weeks, and you can tell in our engagement numbers.
Mm-hmm. And so that's because I haven't provided any for you.
Yeah, but I'm saying, just FYI, it worked, right?
Okay, so, good to know.
Like it's worked on all 3 of our platforms: Farcaster, X, and LinkedIn. So yeah, just FYI. Anytime anyone puts into this, even just going through, listening to 7 minutes, or just like reading this and saying, "Oh yeah, this is cool," and putting a comment on it, that's actually going to help us directly. So yeah, I would appreciate any help on that. All right.
Excellent. Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Petros. I will go through this today, actually, because I think it's useful to have some stuff.
Cool.
All right.
I'll try and be faster, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we get them out, this stuff doesn't have to be as timely. I do think that it's great when Winverse is timely, and I totally missed putting last week's meeting on. So I think the audiograms, it's nice that they're timely, but they don't have to be. Whereas with the meeting recording, it's super nice if it's timely, because then if people miss it, you can kind of just push it up. The funny thing is, I met a couple of people at a Christmas party last week. I went to this Center for Social Innovation to try to be around more purpose-driven people. And one of the things that they did was they checked out my LinkedIn, and they saw some of your audiograms, Drost. And so they were mentioning that, and then they went and listened to a pod that Adam Miller did, the Just Dow It pod, right? And so
wow.
And then they were sending me a message saying hey, I heard you say these things, let's talk about it next week. So it is pretty useful, and if you are someone who wants to have this kind of, let's say, paper trail online, this is a great place to do that stuff. I think it's a potentially great way to get your own personal thoughts, feelings, and philosophy on the internet, because Drost is going to make some clips out of it. Drost is going to make some audiograms for it. So if you're able to get your philosophy out there, if you're able to articulate it, you're going to get a little boost for, using some of Drost's production skills.
Thanks for that context there, Lynx. That's cool. Super cool. Those connections that are happening organically.
It's a kind of thing that I think they say little by little and then all at once, right? Once someone, it takes an audiogram like the ones that you've done. It doesn't, not just an audiogram, it could be anything, but it takes something like one of these audiograms to spark someone's interest, and then they'll dig deeper. And then if there's this kind of body of work that they can kind of dig into, which matches the tone and vibe of that audiogram, then all of a sudden they're in our world. They're in the world of BCard. Hey, I saw this clip. BCard sounds interesting. What is there? Hey, there are these blog articles, or there are these podcasts which explain a little bit more. Hey, there are these videos which resonate with me. And hey, now I see that there's a product that I can use, or maybe multiple products that I can use. There are a couple communities I can support. Hey, my friend does this kind of thing. Could he be helped by BCard? Maybe I'll tell him about it. There are these just as we're trying to like create these like network of tools, we're also trying to do that for ourselves. Basically, anything that we are trying to put out into the world, we need to start with ourselves first. So creating these like kind of networks of information that we can surface to people is really useful as well. All right. Thanks for that update, Drost. Appreciate that. Nice. And so for our discussion items, it is the last week before a break, and I spilled coffee on myself before I could really think through something to talk about today. So I just wondered, is there anything that you guys particularly want to talk about? Anything on your mind? Anything around BCard or the idea of, I mean, I think like Black Flag as well, right? Like, so Black Flag DAO is what the former Bankless DAO was, but I think that really that idea, that brand of Black Flag is something that we're trying to accomplish ourselves here at BCard. So yeah, any kind. Let's leave it open.
Something that's been on my mind, and it's coming up, and it'll be here before you know it, is ETH Denver into February. Time to start thinking about hotels. I'm not sure who else going. If anybody's interested in doing a group thing, those are always really fun. And links. If I don't know if you're going this year, and I'm definitely going, so I don't know if there might be an opportunity to maybe do a little BCard thinking. You know, like if there's a group rental or something, when maybe there's down. I know that that's always a busy event, but I can't be in that arena the whole time. So I like being back at my hotel for a little bit for downtime. But that might be some time for some thinking and maybe working together, since we rarely get time in person together. So I just wanted to put that out there. See if anybody has been thinking about that at all, or just anything else around ETH Denver. And
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I would say that I'm kind of like unsure if I'm going. Like, I would say it's a little bit around 50-50, mainly from an economic perspective, because I haven't really been working outside of BCard, and BCard's not really paying the bills. So it's something that I'll probably try to ameliorate, but I don't know if I'll get it done before February. I did get my ticket just in case I want to go. And if I do go, yeah, like let's figure out how to set up so that we can work together. But yeah, are other people planning on going? I think everyone, Tom, Arkusti, and NF Thinker were there last year. Is that right?
I mean,
I
yeah,
didn't
I
hit
was
Denver
there.
last year. I was at permissionless, but not ETH Denver for me.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know enough was there. I drove him to the airport.
Yeah, you definitely drove, and we bought barbecue on a BCard.
We sure did.
Nice. How was the wine, Drost? Did you drink it
You know
yet?
what? I haven't opened it yet. It's sitting on my
Maybe
shelf
Christmas.
there, waiting for a special occasion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, share it with friends. I'm sure they'll love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the ETH Denver point you made, Links, is get the free ticket while you can. So if anybody's eligible for a free ticket, I think if you've staked a certain amount of spork, you're a member of Spork DAO.
It's like really small. It's like 5 spork or something.
Right. Yeah. It's like under $1. I think it costs more in gas. So, yeah, become a member of Spork DAO, and then you can claim your free ticket. You have to apply, but they'll send you one eventually. And yeah, then if you're in the position to go in February, what are the dates, Links or Drost?
I believe it's February 24th through March 3rd. So Biddle Week is, I believe, starting the 24th through like the 27th, 28th, and then the main event starts. I'm just doing this off the top of my head because I just booked my hotel yesterday. And then I think the main event is like 28th through the 3rd or something like that, over that weekend. And the venue is always the main venue is always at that western complex that's near the Rhino District, River North. But if you're coming in from flight, it's easy to take a train, the high-speed rail to downtown, and then I think they have shuttle buses to the complex. But the hotel I'm staying at is like a 3-minute drive to the complex, and so that's what I'm doing because I can drive there. It's easy for me.
Yeah, so the opening
But yeah,
ceremony
the
is
dates are
February
end
27th,
of February, right?
and the closing ceremony is March 2nd.
Oh, the second. Okay.
Yeah, so I think like there's still stuff like there's a mini summit starting in February 23rd or something like that, and then February 27th is when the conference starts, and then there's always like events before and after. Like I think a
There's
lot of
tons
people
of side
go up.
events.
Yeah, a lot of people go up to the mountains and do like a retreat, a skiing retreat and stuff like that. So there's lots of stuff going on in Denver at that time. So yeah.
Yeah, last year I did a pre-event ski retreat in Spokane. That was fun. And yeah, it works out really well going for me from the UK because I can fly into Denver and then forward on to Spokane, which is where a bunch of my family and friends are. And then just fly back through Denver to hit up the conference. But it's really, for me, it's all out funds because that's super expensive and it's 2 weeks that I have to take off, and I just my schedule gets all in a muddle. So unless there's a bull market and I can afford to just pop out there on a whim, I doubt I would actually make it this time around. But you never know. 4 months is a long
Yeah,
time.
I hear you.
So,
That's
let's
why I
see you
didn't go
then.
to permissionless.
Yeah, permissionless was too far. And also like I didn't really feel like we were I know Chippy had a house there and I had a spot if I wanted to take it, but I just ended up not going. I sold my ticket and broke even basically. So made a little profit on the ticket, but that's not what it was about.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, that would have been the main reason for me to go, would be to hang with Chippy fam. It wasn't even about permissionless for me.
Yeah. Fair
Karaoke
enough.
and poker nights. I mean, they do make the world go round. They make the conference
Especially-
function.
I know Lynx feels good about that because he wins. Gotta watch out for that guy.
It's funny. I won one poker game, and now I have some sort of like poker
a
street
reputation.
Legendary
cred.
status. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you did beat 24 people, so it was legendary. I mean, I was so close to getting in on that pot, but just didn't make it. I think it was Elemental who pushed me out. So
It was total fate for me, right? Because in the end, it was me, Block Boy, and Tomahawk, right? And I said I'm just gonna go all in because I'm tired of being at this table, and I don't have the best hand, but it might make it work. And I had done that several times, right? Like I had done that a bunch of times, and I was just like, I think I'm just having a good night. I think it's just like fate wants me to win, and that's what happened. Both of them had better hands in the pocket than me, and I ended up still winning like randomly, even though I should have lost according to the odds, right? And so it wasn't coming from any type of skill. Let's just say that.
Luck trumps patience sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it
Sad.
does. I remember one time I was playing poker and I had to go to a concert, and so I was going all in blind on literally every hand because I was just like, okay, like let's hurry up and lose my money, and I ended up winning the entire pot in like 10 minutes. So it's just
Seems
luck
like a winning
sometimes.
strategy.
I mean, if you try that normally, you will lose, but apparently for me, it worked.
yeah, I opened up with a strong hand in that whole competition. I was sat next to Frog Monkey, and I had 4 twos, and he had no idea, and he just kept betting larger and larger, and I took like half his his stack. He wasn't too pleased after that, and he went out pretty quickly afterwards. He was like, "Fuck this." But yeah, I did pretty well in the beginning, and it helped me through the middle there. Had a bit of a lull. Oh yeah, we were at the same table, Lynx. Yeah, you
Yeah,
ended
we
up.
were.
Yeah. Good times. Anyway, yeah. So poker,
That's the stuff you
karaoke.
remember.
Yeah, exactly. And that place in Austin that we stayed at the Chippy Mansion there, they had this bar that was kind of connected to
the
the
rooftop
hotel.
bar was super cool.
Well, I didn't actually check that out, but the people who own that hotel had like another bar that was on the other side of the pool, and they had like an outdoor area and then an upstairs downstairs with a stage, and then
Right,
the
that's what I'm
upstairs
talking
bit.
about.
Right, yeah, not the rooftop bar. The rooftop was on top
Oh,
of the hotel, and it was like a big stage, and you could like sit out in the sun. But this one was another separate building across the like from across the pool and across their garden, and then inside, and you go up, and there was like this speakeasy on the top floor, on the second floor, with this big horseshoe bar and guitars all over the wall, and everything was like old wood and leather, and there were like 15 or 20 people in there just sort of lounging, hanging out, and it was just like a random time. It just felt like I stepped into a different world there. So man, there's some
oh,
cool
I
venues
missed
out there. I
that.
feel like with events. Um, if we're ever in one of these places again, we really should throw an event. Make it a B card
Absolutely.
community event. Everybody who has a B card community with us just is represented, and then we figure out how to fund it. But yeah, that's how you bring everybody together, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great idea. I wish I was a little bit better at organizing community events. I'm trying to do that now with this Black Flag stuff, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Working on it. Anyways, I see that we're at time. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. An extra big thank you because it's the last one I'm going to probably give you this year. But thank you to all of you. This was the year that we really, truly launched BCard. And now we're in the point where we're actually trying to get users. We're trying to figure out product market fit. We're trying to figure out how we can actually solve those problems that we set out to solve 3 years ago, right? And so it is non-trivial. And I think one of the big things that separates us from a lot of these VC-backed companies, I mean, a lot of the ones that were around in 2021 when we started aren't around anymore, right? They had a couple team members who were working full-time and they were going for it, but the idea behind this whole Web3 space is resilience. And I think that we've shown that it is possible to be resilient even when you don't have a lot of cash, even when you're aiming to solve problems that VCs don't want to solve, even when you're aiming to solve problems that work close to your heart and not just close to your wallet. I think that that is what we're trying to prove. And we prove it every day by showing up. We prove it every day by moving this project along week by week. Okay. And it's not just a couple of people doing it. It's everyone here, and even the people who aren't here, who are still nudging us along all the time. That support, that just that buy-in to what we're trying to do, it allows us to move forward. Okay, so even the small, tiny things that you can do to contribute, they can have big results over time. And so I just want to thank all of you for all of the contribution you've put in throughout the life of this project, of course, this year, but even more so. I mean, we wouldn't have even gotten started if we didn't have some of the people in this room. We wouldn't have continued. There were hard times as well, and it is only through the fact that we decided that we were going to stick together and we decided to work on a problem that we really believe needs to be fixed, that we're still here. And so, let's hold on to that as we move forward, because if we succeed, it will be on our own terms, and we will have created something that has never before existed in this world. And I think, to me, that's what I'm really excited about. And so it's really about the idea that the means is the end. The things that we're doing today are going to determine the kind of organization that we are tomorrow. And so thank you all for doing it. I really appreciate it. And I think we've never had a better chance. We've never been in a better position to create that kind of organization than we are right now. So thank you, all of you, for doing what you've been doing. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lynx. And
Here, here.
since we probably won't be chatting until the first of the year, if you celebrate Christmas or whatever, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, stay safe, be with friends, have fun, and let's make 2025 great.
Absolutely. Happy holidays, everybody. See
Yeah,
you
thanks,
in the
everybody.
new year.
Holidays.
Get some relax
See you
and
in the
have some
halls.
fun.
See you later.
Thanks, everybody.